A salt-stained surfboard leans against the garage of a Malibu Modern, its edges chipped from decades of riding Pacific waves. This isn't just any beach house. It's the coastal retreat Robert Conrad, the rugged star of the Wild Wild West, called home, a place where he traded Hollywood's spotlight for the rhythm of the tide. Behind its glass walls, Conrad, who died in 2020, lived a life few saw. Not the swaggering James West, but a man wrestling with fame, family, and the freedom of the ocean. What does this forgotten estate reveal about the hero who surfed its shores? Step through the gates and let's find out. Robert Conrad was a Chicago kid with a boxer's grit and a performer's heart, a man who didn't just act tough, he lived it. Born Conrad Robert Falk in 1935, he drove milk trucks and sang in cabarets before Hollywood beckoned. Best known for Hawaiian Eye, The Wild Wild West, and Ba Ba Black Sheep, he was a stuntman actor who threw real punches, often to his own detriment. His homes, first a rustic Bear Valley retreat in California's Sierra Nevada, then a sleek Malibu coastal modern, weren't chosen for prestige but for escape. A self-described loner, Conrad craved spaces where he could be himself, a surfer, a father, a man who valued control over chaos. His properties, one a mountain hideout, the other a beachfront haven, mirrored his dual nature, the fighter who loved solitude and the showman who thrived on adrenaline. Let's start with the Malibu home, purchased in 2011 for $1.35 million and sold in 2020 for $5.1 million, just months after his death. Built in 1980 on a 3/4 acre lot, this 3,765 square foot contemporary was a departure from the era's gaudy mansions. Designed by an uncredited architect, it sat elevated above the Pacific, its clean lines and glass walls framing unobstructed ocean views. Conrad then, in his late 70s, was drawn to its proximity to the surf breaks he'd ridden since the 1950s. Robert loved the 5-minute walk to the beach, listing agent Rochelle Mays told the Los Angeles Times. He reimagined the interiors, stripping away dated fixtures for a minimalist aesthetic that felt both cerebral and warm, a canvas for his quieter years. Step inside, and the great room commands attention, its double-height ceiling soaring 20 feet. A second-floor catwalk overlooks the space, where glossy hardwood floors catch the sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling glass sliders. Conrad chose neutral tones, gallery white walls, black-trimmed windows, to let the ocean be the star. A sleek fireplace, clad in slate, anchors the room, its hearth often lit during rare gatherings. He furnished it sparsely, a low-slung leather sofa, a driftwood coffee table, and a single-frame photo of his Wild Wild West co-star Ross Martin, a nod to a friendship that endured. This wasn't a room for Hollywood parties, but for solitude, where Conrad would stand at the glass, coffee in hand, watching dawn break over the Pacific. The kitchen, open to the great room, was a study in function. Stainless steel appliances gleamed against white cabinetry, the island cluttered with surfing magazines and protein shake mix. Conrad, a lifelong athlete, was obsessive about fitness, often blending smoothies here after morning runs. His daughter Nancy recalled in a 2021 People interview how he'd cook steaks on the grill, shirtless, no matter the weather, like he was still James West. The space felt like him, disciplined yet unpretentious, a place where he could recharge without pretense. Outside the backyard was his pride. A rectangular pool surrounded by flagstones shimmered under the sun, its edge dropping off to a lawn sloping toward the coast. A fire pit and barbecue area, added during his renovations, hosted barbecues for his 5 children and 8 grandchildren. Conrad would hold court here, telling stories of dodging explosions on Wild Wild West sets, his laugh carrying over the crash of waves. The wraparound deck with its glass railing was his morning ritual spot, yoga at sunrise. A habit he picked up after a 2003 car accident left his right side partially paralyzed. This outdoor haven, with its salt air and endless horizon, was where he found peace in his final decade. The master suite, occupying half the second floor, was his retreat. A private terrace jutted over the ocean, its teak floor worn from years of barefoot pacing. Inside, the room was ascetic. A king-sized bed with crisp white linens, a single nightstand holding a dog-eared copy of Moby Dick, and a treadmill facing the sea. The ensuite bathroom, with its teak-soaking tub and steam shower, was a rare indulgence, a nod to his love of physical recovery. He'd soak for hours after surfing, his son Christian shared in a 2020 Variety tribute, saying the ocean fixed everything. The closet held relics of his life: faded Baba black sheep flight jackets, boxing gloves from celebrity matches, and a single tuxedo, rarely worn. This suite was his fortress, a place to confront aging and mortality away from the world's eyes. Now let's journey to the Bear Valley Retreat, a 5,000 square foot mountain lodge he owned from the 1990s to the early 2000s, listed for $1.75 million in 2014. Known as High Mountain Ranger after his 1988 TV series, it sat on 2/3 of an acre in California's Sierra Nevada, overlooking Bear Lake. Built in the 1970s for a local timber baron, the rustic modern design featured knotty pine walls, onyx accents, and walls of glass framing snow-capped peaks. Conrad, who served as a deputy sheriff in Bear Valley for 8 years, was drawn to its isolation, a world away from Malibu's glamour. It was here, in the 1990s, that he grappled with his fading TV career and a need to redefine himself. Enter the lodge, and the great room feels like a cathedral of wood and stone. Vaulted ceilings, supported by massive beams, soar above a river rock fireplace that roared during winter storms. Conrad furnished it with rugged charm: plaid wool sofas, a moose antler chandelier, and a bearskin rug he jokingly claimed he'd wrestled himself. The windows, floor to ceiling, made the mountains feel close enough to touch. He'd sit here, whiskey in hand, sketching ideas for High Mountain Rangers, a show inspired by the local search and rescue team he volunteered with. "This place was my reset," he told the Chicago Tribune in 1998, "where I could think without cameras." The kitchen was a hub of family life. A long pine table, scarred from years of rowdy dinners, sat beneath a wrought iron chandelier. Conrad, a surprisingly adept cook, would whip up venison chili for his kids who'd visit from Los Angeles. His daughter Joan, the executive producer of High Mountain Rangers, recalled in a 2020 Forbes interview how he'd burn the chili every time but insist it was perfect. The space, with its copper pots and cluttered spice rack, was chaotic, a counterpoint to the Malibu kitchen's precision, reflecting a looser, wilder Conrad. The master suite, occupying its own floor, was a sanctuary of indulgence. A fireplace warmed the room, its glow dancing on teak paneling. The bed, a massive four-poster, was piled with flannel blankets, while a private deck offered views of Bear Lake. The bathroom's teak-soaking tub and steam room were where Conrad nursed injuries from his stunt days. A hidden safe built into the closet held scripts and a Colt revolver, a memento from the wild, wild West. This suite was his command center, a place to plan his next move in a career that refused to slow down. The property's guest house, a 3-bedroom cabin, hosted stars like Clint Eastwood, who skied nearby and swapped stories with Conrad over beers. A game room with a pool table and bar was where he'd challenge his sons to late-night matches, his competitive streak undimmed. The outdoor patio with its fire pit saw snowy evenings of storytelling, Conrad's voice booming as he recounted surviving a Wild Wild West train explosion. These spaces, rugged and communal, were where he built a second family among Bear Valley's locals. Comparing the homes, the Bear Valley retreat was Conrad's wilderness, a raw, communal space that matched his 1990s reinvention as a mountain man and volunteer sheriff. Its knotty pine and firelit rooms evoked a primal, unpolished energy, a place to wrestle with his past. The Malibu home bought later was his twilight, sleek and introspective, its glass walls and ocean views reflecting a man seeking calm after a turbulent life. The Bear Valley Lodge was his war room, loud with family and friends. Malibu was his sanctuary, quiet with personal reflection. Gossip swirled around both properties. In Bear Valley, locals whispered of a ghostly rider near the lodge, tied to a 19th century miner who died on the land, a tale Conrad fueled with a grin, saying, "He guards my whiskey." A 2014 Los Angeles Times article noted the retreat's star-studded past, with Eastwood's visits sparking rumors of a lost film project. In Malibu, neighbors claimed the pool lights flickered after Conrad's death, as if his spirit still surfed the waves. More tangible was a 2013 incident when Conrad, ever the prankster, left a fake shark fin in the pool during a family barbecue, sending grandkids screaming, as Christian recounted in Variety. Then there's the story from his 2008 Television Academy interview, where he admitted hiding Wild Wild West prop gadgets in the Bear Valley safe, just to mess with whoever finds them. Lesser known is how these homes anchored his quieter passions. In Bear Valley, he led search and rescue missions, using the lodge as a base for training volunteers. In Malibu, he mentored young surfers, hosting impromptu lessons from his deck. He'd yell at kids to keep their knees bent, Nancy told People, like he was directing a scene. These acts, far from the spotlight, showed a Conrad who found purpose in community, his homes as stages for giving back. What do these estates reveal? The Bear Valley kitchen, with its burnt chili and crowded table, was Conrad's heart, messy, generous, fiercely loyal. The Malibu deck, where he stretched at dawn, was his soul, a place to face his body's betrayal after the 2003 crash. His closets, boxing gloves in Malibu, a revolver in Bear Valley, spoke of a man who never stopped fighting, even against time. The hidden safe and flickering pool lights hinted at a playful mystery he cultivated, a final act of showmanship. Standing in the Malibu great room, now empty, the ocean roars beyond the glass. The Bear Valley Lodge, sold and repurposed, still echoes with his laughter. Robert Conrad didn't just live in these homes, he carved his contradictions into their walls. A brawler who sought peace, a star who craved anonymity. These estates, one rugged, one refined, show us fame's paradox. The louder the world cheers, the more you need a place to be still. As the surfboard gathers dust and the mountain winds howl, Conrad's homes stand as testaments to a life lived on his terms, their silence louder than any applause. That's a wrap for today's video. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button, drop us a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss our new content. Thanks for watching.